we actually did this in the last video. So if you haven't seen that video, we did the homepage programming, right? We started the homepage programming in the last video, and we are finishing it up in this particular video, right? And if you want to see what the app is going to have or entail, these are the components of the app, right? So the app is going to have a sign in and a sign up feature, right? User identification or authentication, right? So if you sign in, it will actually identify you as an individual, right? You'll be able to post blogs, right? You'll be able to access the camera through the app, so you can actually take an image, open the app, and you'll be able to access the camera, right? More like something like WhatsApp, right? You can just use the camera inside the app, right? It will also have microphone access, right? So you can actually record your voice and post, right? Users can like, comment, and forward blogs. So if you see a blog you like, you can just like it, right? And it will count, right? And there will be a blog views count feature, right? So let's say you're a blogger. If you post a blog or a news, the number of people that views that particular news will also be counted, right? So that will be one feature we will implement. You can also hold discussions or forums. Users can send and receive messages, like chatting feature. You can share the blogs to other apps, right? Like let's say you see a blog you like, you can share it to probably Facebook or Twitter or WhatsApp or any other social media platform. And plus here means if you have any ideas you think we should actually add to this app. So cause this is a progressive web app, right? We can add as many features as we want, and we don't have to let the person or anyone using the app reinstall the app over and over again, download and reinstall, right? We're not going to do that, right? So it's going to be a progressive web app, and once you actually turn on your data, the app will be updated, right? So that's how it's going to work. We're going to host this app, and I think we've used too much time. Let's see. So this is what we have so far with this particular programming we did, this homepage programming we did. This is what we have so far, right? This is what we have so far. But then we are actually trying to achieve this particular design, right? This is the final work I made, right? So we are almost done with this part. We'll come back and tweak it later, right? It has this feature, this side panel feature, right? And you can close it here. And we are going to continue with this part, right? This horizontal, or is this a vertical? I always mix it up. It's actually a horizontal scrolling, right? Yeah, horizontal scrolling, right? Yeah, and we are going to do all these parts in this particular video, right? So without wasting much time, let's go back to our HTML. So this is our HTML, and if you followed in a previous video, you can see we created this particular div here to house all these features, right? These things. Let me go back here. So this featured news div, I don't know if you see well, but then this feature news div houses all these, right? So let me even put a border around it. So I'll go to my style.css and search for feature news, right? So I'm going to give it a red border so we can see it well. So I'm going to give it a red border. So let's go back, and we see that it houses this entire component, right? Except the navigation, right? Except the navigation. So the illusion we are going to do here is we are going to make this particular red circled featured news div scrollable, right? We're going to make it scrollable so that it will create the illusion that the navigation is static or sticky, right? It doesn't move, right? So that's the illusion we are going to create, or paint, right? Put across. So to do that, it's quite simple. Within that featured news div, you can just set overflow y, right? Overflow in the y-axis. So it means that if any element overflows it in the y-axis, what you're going to do is you're going to set it to auto, right? So that means it means scroll, right? So you don't have to exceed it. If something exceeds it, just make it scrollable, right? So now let's test that in our HTML and see how it works. So this is our featured news div. Let me go to the end of the div. Let's see. So at the end, here's the end of the div. Let me add something. So I'm going to do something like dummy text. Let's see, 300 dummy text, right? So now we can see that the div is scrollable, right? So we can see that even if we scroll, the navigation is still static. It's not moving, right? When we scroll, the navigation is still there. That's the illusion we are trying to paint, and we actually achieved that, right? So this was just dummy text. Let me clear the whole thing, right? And let's continue our programming. So with the design here, it's left with this part, right? Let's try to make this part. So I'll go back to my HTML, and I'm going to call that part. Where does it end? Let me see. So to do this, what we have to do is we move to where our featured news is, right? So right under the featured news, we're going to create a new div. We're going to call it something like wrapper, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to put the featured blocks and the trends in that particular wrapper, right? So that we can make this scrollable effect, the scrolling effect. So let's see how it looks like now. So when we do that, we see that our design is kind of messy, right? Because we haven't styled the wrapper. So now we can just go back to our CSS and style the wrapper. So within our CSS, we can just do .wrapper and give it some attributes, right? First, we're going to give it a height of 100 viewport height, and we're going to give it a width of 100 viewport with let me see. No, we're going to give it a width of 100 viewport height minus 50 pixels, just as we gave the feature news, right? Sorry, I meant 50 pixels. 50 pixels. We can check the feature news and we can see that it has the same height, right? So now let's see how it looks like now. Okay, it's still messy. So what do we need to do again? We have given it a height, we have given it a width. We have to set the display to also grid so that we separate the feature news and the trends, right? The featured blocks and the trends. So display grid and give it the grid template column of guess one fraction. Now let's see how it looks like now. Okay, it is still messy. So what's wrong now? I messed this up. So with the height, the height is going to be, sorry, this is supposed to be the height. Okay, so this is supposed to be the height, right? And the width is supposed to be 100 viewport width, right? Great. Now let's see. Don't mess up. Okay, now it's cool now. It's very cool now, and we see that there's this scrolling feature if you can actually see it. So now we can actually add this part of the app. This part of the app now, right? So now let's move to our current programming. So let's add that part. We are going to call that part how should we call it? Let's call it more news, right? And where are we going to put it? We are going to put it just at the end of wrapper. So if you close wrapper, just at the end, that's where we're going to put this more news div, right? So dot more news, and you can just do something. Let's style it, right? So with the more news, we can just do dot more news, and let's give it a width of 100 viewport width, height of, let's try 600 pixels, background, let's give the background of #222, and yeah, let's see how it looks like. Okay, something is wrong somewhere. The more news, is that how I spelled it? More news. But then what's wrong? Okay, so remember we actually took the content of feature news and created a new div wrapper and placed all the content in it, right? We didn't actually change the attribute of or the styling of feature news, so that's what's coming back to haunt us. So we can just go back to feature news. Where's feature news? And okay, so feature news, we can just take away the display grid and take away the grid template columns, right? And now let's see how it looks now. Great, we have right here our more news, right? But then there is an overflow here. Let me see if I can sort it out. Okay, so refresh and it's gone. Okay, so everything looks cool now, right? So now let's start styling this thing. So now let's see. Where is it? First of all, we can see that we have two parts, right? A left and a right, right? So now let's do that division first. So we go back to our HTML. Within our more news, we can just create some scrollable feed, right? For this part, that means it's scrollable, right? So dot scrollable feed, and we have that particular div, and we're going to create another one for this part. We're going to call it static feed, right? So dot static feed. Great, we have a static feed and we have our scrollable feed, right? So let's start the more news. We're going to divide it into two, right? So with more news, we can just set display to grid and grid template columns to one fraction. So we've actually divided it into two, although you can't see it yet, but then we've divided it into two, right? So now let's see something. Let's start the scrollable the static feed, right? So here's the static feed, and let me give it a border 1 pixel solid, let's say white. Great, so now we see that it is the static feed is covering half of this part, right? So now let's work on the static feed. So we have this part, and we have I think web dev is all about divisions. If you can see the divisions, you can actually create it, right? So we have this part, and we also have this part, right? This part consists of two elements, an image and the right side, and beneath this part we have some text, right? So let's first work on this part, right? What we're going to do is we're going to divide it into two, this segment into two, right? We're going to divide it into two parts, right? And when we are done, we will focus on the first part and work on it, and we'll work on the second part too. So enough for the talk. Let's just work this out. Great. So now I'll move back to my HTML, and within the static feed, let me come back to CSS. Let me divide it, right? Display. I always use grid for my divisions, right? Grid is more like accurate or something. I don't know how to put it. You can use flex and use percentages too, but it depends on you. Grid. So now grid template rows, right? I'm dividing it into rows. So one fraction, right? So I've divided it into rows, although we don't have any element in it, right? So now let me add the elements. I'm going to name the first one top part, and I'm going to name the bottom one bottom part, right? Okay, great. So now let's start the top part. So CSS again dot top part. Let's give it a border, so we see border 1 pixel solid green. What is green? Okay, so now we see that this top part is here, right? We can check here that this is the top part, and it has a left part and a right part again, right? So now let's also do that. Within the top part, we're also going to create 2 divisions, right? So back to our HTML, within the top part, we're going to create 2 divisions. One is an image and one is text, right? So dot image, let me name it T image. That means for top part image, right? And dot T text, right? For top part text, right? So now we also have our 2 divisions, right? So now let's see. So within the T image, right, the top part image, I'm going to add an image tag, right? So just do img src grab that, or just do asset image 1, and let me add an image, right? So let me see how it looks like. Like this. Okay, so now it's messy, right? Let's start the T image. So dot T image, we can just do okay, let's even start dot T image img. Let's do that one first. So with 100%, so it will fill its container, right? So now we see that it has filled its container more than it's actually supposed to. Yeah, okay. And that's because we haven't created the top part divisions yet. So back in our CSS top part, we set display to grid, and grid template columns to one fraction. So now it should be good now. Okay, so now we have our division right here, which is kind of cool. Great. So now let's work on the text, right? So what's the name we gave it? We gave it T text, that's top part text, right? And let's see the component it has. So the top part text has a title right here. It has another title, it has more news, and more title and more news. This is very okay, but we're going to do this. But we can see that this and this is the same, and this, they are all the same, right? So we can create a particular component and copy it multiple times, right? Great. Okay, so now first thing is you're going to for the T text, let's see. So we're going to give it title, or main title, right? The main title is going to contain an H5 or something like that, saying more news. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, looks good. Not that good there, but it's cool. Then we're going to where is it? Okay, so main title. So we're going to also have a subtitle, right? Not a subtitle, but then subtitle, right? Which is going to be probably an H6. It's the smallest header, right? I'm saying lorem, let's say of 4, right? Lorem 4. That's 4 text, right? And let's see how that one also looks like. Great. And we're going to have a description if you already don't have that. Text T description. The reason I name this separately is if you actually use another class name, most people prefer to use IDs, but then you don't have to repeat class names, right? So T description is going to have probably a paragraph, right? Saying lorem, let's say 17, right? Great. Now we have also that one here, right? So we have this element and we're going to copy it a couple of times, this subtitle and T decoration, right? So now let's start this it doesn't look nice, right? So what we're going to do is let's see which ones we really start with. Let's start with the whole thing. Let's start with the T text in general. So back in our CSS, so we can just do T text, right, and give it a padding of, let's say, 10 pixels, so it separates from the image. Okay, so now it's a little bit separated. It looks cool. Now let's separate these two things, right? I'm going to increase the size of this particular element, that is the subtitle, right? So I can just do dot subtitle, and I'm going to increase the font size to, let's say, 18 pixels. Great. Nah, not that great. Let me see. Let me even add note h6 font size. This, let me make it 20. Let me reduce the font weight to probably 300 pixels. Oh, that's so big. Sorry, 300. We don't add pixels to font weight. Okay, now it's coming to life. Let me see, 400. It's cool, right? But I'm going to give it a margin top, right? Margin top. I don't know if this is the right procedure I should use, but then it will work though. But then I don't know if it's advisable. Okay, great. Now let me reduce the size of the, how did I name this part? The T description, right? So T description P. Let me reduce the size. The T description P, right? So font size is going to be something like 14 pixels, and font weight is going to be something like 200, right? Great. Let me reduce the size of this one. Let's make this one something like 18, and let's make this font size 14. Let's make it. Let me check it out now. Okay, it looks kind of cool now, but the text is too much. The text is kind of too much. So let's see. Okay, it looks cool. But then a little margin top won't hit 10 pixels. Okay, great. Now we're going to copy this and paste this just one time for the meantime. So I'm just going to copy the subtitle and the T description, copy it and paste it again. So now we have two, right? Great. Then let's see the original. We can see. Okay, the fonts are smaller. So yeah, we have to reduce the fonts. So back to CSS. Let me work it out and show it to you guys later. So for the subtitle H6, I messed around the font size, and I think I settled for, I think 14 pixels, right? And for the description, I changed the font size to 11, right? And I increased the margin top of subtitle to 30 pixels, right? And for the main title, I gave it a font size of 14 pixels. So now let's see how it looks like now. Okay, it looks great now, right? So now it's left with we need to put this also here, right? Just one of these. So let's go back to our HTML, and under our top part, we can just copy subtitle and description, copy and come and paste it under the top part. I just want to make sure it is there. So under the, no, it's not text, I mean the top part. Okay, so under the top part, I'll just put it there and let's see how it looks like. Okay, it's messy. I got it wrong, so let me undo. Let's see. So let me put it under the image, right? Okay, now it's more messier. Okay, Control Z. Oh, okay. It is because of the divisions I gave there. Let me just work it out. Okay, so then why don't we try putting it just under the image tag, right, and see how it turns out. Okay. Now it's cool, right? It came here, but then let's tell it a bit. Let's bring it a little bit to the top, right? So let's give it another class. Where is it? That's here. Let's give it another class. Probably second, right? And so let's start second. So dot second. Let's give it a margin top of, let's say 10 pixels. Let's try minus 10 pixels. Okay, and let's give it a padding left of, let's say same 10 pixels. Okay, Great. For the description too, we need to give it the same class, which is second. Let's see how it looks. Okay, great. Now we have these. Let me just touch it a little bit. You know what? Let's take it off here, and let's drop the padding. Let's drop the padding left, right? So now let's go this way. Let's take it this way, right? Great. So we are almost there. We are almost done with this part. We are virtually done, right? So now it's left with the down part, right? Great. So now let's work on the down part. So how do we name that? You go to your HTML to check. We name that bottom part, right? So now how are we going to fill in this bottom part? Before we start with the bottom part, as we usually do, we give it a border, right? So we see where it is positioned and everything, right? So I'm going to do bottom part, right? And I'm going to give it a border, right? Border 1 pixel solid, probably green, right? Let me try green yellow. So now let's see how it looks like. Sorry. So it is our bottom part, as we see here. Yeah, this part is just the bottom part, right? And let's see how the actual work looks like. Okay, so now this is how the bottom part is supposed to be, right? So it has 4 elements, 1 2 3 4 elements, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bigger element, right? The element is going to span from here up to this point, right? It's going to span this, containing these 2 elements, right? I'm going to divide that particular element into 2, and that's the left. It's going to have a left and a right. And I'm just going to duplicate that element after I'm done, right? There are tons of ways to go about this, but that's the way I'm going about it. So then I'll just go back to my HTML and let me see. So first thing is, let me see something. Okay. First thing is, I'm going to create an element in the bottom part, right? I'm going to name it last news, because that's the last news there, right? I'm going to duplicate it, right, just so we know what I'm doing. So I'm having 2 elements, right? The last news, which is going to be this part. This from here, from here to here is one last news, and from here to here is another last news, right? So like, let's start the last news, right? Okay. So back to our CSS. Let's do something. Last news. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a border 1 pixel solid red, probably, right? I'm going to give it a height of probably let's see, 100 pixels, and a width of 100%, so it spans the entire part like it's supposed to. So 100%, and let's see how it looks like. Okay, so let's check it out. Okay, great. Let's give it a margin top, right? A margin top of, let's say 20 pixels. Okay, now it kind of looks great, but then I want a few modifications. Let me make it let's try 40. It's perfect now, right? We have one here and we have one here, right? So now let's do the styling, giving it content. Let's check it out again. So with the one element has it has an image and it has a text, right? So with it has an image part and it has a text part. The text part is also divided into 2. Web dev is all about divisions. If you're able to see the divisions, then you are good to go, right? So then there is one division here with this particular element. You can divide it into image and a text, right? And even the text part, you can divide it into a title and a description, right? So now let's do that. So let's create these elements and let's see. So I'll go back to my HTML and within the first last news, I'm going to create an image, right? Dot image. I think I've already used image, so I'm going to do dot l image for last news image, right? Image l image, right? And I'm also going to create dot l description. The reason I'm naming this weirdly is we don't want to be repeating class names, right? Hope I spelled that right. You don't want to be repeating class names, right? If you repeat a class name, you are basically messing up your HTML or your website or in general, right? So going to give it the L description. I mean, this is the L description, right? This whole part is the L description. It's going to have 2 parts, a title and then more description, something like that. So it's going to have dot L title for last news title, right? And the L title is going to have probably an H6 header 6, and it's going to have a lorem of, let's say, probably 3, right? And let's continue with the L description. We already have L description. Dots. Let me see. Let's just call it dot. Naming is very hard though. I wonder if I'll be able to name my bit. Hope you didn't hear that. So after some thought, I'm deciding to name it dot L. Why did I decide to name it? Yeah, L details, right? Tails, right? Details. Great. It's also going to have a P, right, a paragraph, and it's going to have lorem of probably 8. Now let's see how it looks like. So this is how it looks like, right? Great, because we don't have our image yet and we don't have anything in it. Cool. Great. So now we are styling this particular element. Oh no, I made a mistake. I should have put this entire thing in one element. I don't know who realized it, but then if you realize it, it means you're really following it well, right? So I'm going to create an element dot last news elements, right? And I'm going to put all this inside the last news element, all this up to this part, right? Great. Okay, great. Let me tap this. Great. Cool. So now let's start the last news element, and let's see. The last news element, I'm going to give it a width of 45%, right? A height of probably 100%. What am I typing? 100%. And let's see, a border 1 pixel solid white, right? Is that white? And let's see how it looks like. Great, right? So this is our element within the I think you get me, right? Great. Now let's add it in within that particular let's still style it. Though that last news element is going to have a display of grid, right? So display is going to be grid, and we're going to have a grid template column, right, of probably 2 fraction, 3 fraction, right, for the image, right? So now let's see how it looks like. I think it's too much for the image, so I'm going to make it 4 fraction, 5 fraction, if that's not too much. So I tried 2 fraction, 4 fraction, and it looks kind of cool, right? Great. Now let's see our image. Where is our image? Right. So the L image, you have to put the image tag inside the image img thing, right? So img src, we go to asset. Do we need to go back? Let me check our folder tree. Okay, so we don't need to go back, so we just do asset, right, slash image 1, right, and we close it. Great, right. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, the image is too big, so what we're going to do is you need to make the image with 100% so it fits in, right? So the L image img, for the image, width is going to be 100%, height is going to be 100%, right? Let's see how it looks like now. Alright, great. Now we have our image fit in there, right? So now we are done with this part. Let's start this part. Cool. So we start with the title, right? Okay, let's go to the title and see what we gave it. L title, right? L title. Okay, so we can just do dot L title h6. It has an h6. We can style it within the L title, but we can actually bring it out and yeah. Great. So L title, let's increase the font size. So font size of probably 16 pixels. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, it's big, too much. So 15 is cool. Then let's come to dot L details, if that's the name I gave it. The L details font size. The L details P. Right, font size probably 11 pixels, and font weight, that's the heaviness or the boldness, let's give it 200, right? Let's see how it looks like now. Cool. But the font is too small. Let's give it 200. Sorry, 12. Not much of a difference. But then how are we going to do it? Right. So cool. I think it's coming to life now, right? So the L description, we didn't style it. Let me start it. Dot L description, right? Now it contains the title and the details, right? So I'm going to give it a padding of, let's say probably 10 pixels too. Great. Let me give this a margin top, right? Margin top of probably 10 pixels, as you could have guessed, right? Now it's coming to life now. Let me compare it with the other one and see if we are missing anything. Okay, I think the positioning, let's separate it. Let's give it more height. So margin top is going to be 20 pixels, probably. Let's go for 30. 25. Looks great now. However it looks, we are taking it like that, right? Cool. 25. Now we have our element. We have been able to create one element. Now we are done. We are just going to copy and paste it a couple of times, right? So within where is it? Yeah, HTML. We're going to copy the last news element 2 times, right? I'm going to close it so it is in. I'm going to copy here and paste it again, right? And I'm going to, the second last news I created, I'm going to paste it here too, and paste it one more time, 2 times. Let's see how it looks like now. Okay, now what's happening? So I think I have to start what did I call it? The last news. So the last news, I have to give the display grade. Okay, so display is going to be grade, grade, and grade template column, right? Column is going to be one fraction, right? Great, it should work now. That's what's happening. Grade template column, one fraction. Okay, let me see. Oh, okay. So remember on the onset, I gave where is it? The last news element a width of 45%, right? I think I've created 2 elements now, so I have to make it probably 100%, so it'll fill its parent, right? Great, now it looks cool now, right? It looks cool now, right? So we have all our elements how we want them to be, and cool, we are done with this part. Let's move on straight to the scroll up. Let me take off the borders first, right? So taking off the borders, cool. Where's the green? Yeah, cool. I've taken off the borders. Now they look bigger now. I don't know why. Cool. I think you're using too much time. So now let's come back to the scrollable element. So now let's see how it looks like. So the scrollable element, scrollable news, this is how it looks like, right? So cool. Let's see. First let's see where it is positioned, right? So back to HTML, we created where is it? Scrollable feet, right? That's what we named it, right? Let's give it a border, right? So we can come here and do the scrollable feet border 1 pixel solid white. Where is it? Did I spell it well? So I think I got the spelling wrong, right? So I'll just, okay, now let's make it solid. Let's correct the spelling and make this red. Let me just copy the spelling, right? Scrollable feet. I don't know how I spelled it. I'm spelling it differently here. So let me just here and just paste shit. And yeah, let's see how it looks like now. Great, now we have our scrollable feet entire box here, right? So these are scrollable feet, right? So let's take one more look at how it's going to be like. So first of all, it's going to have this blah 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 blah. Okay, so I'm going to create an element, right, which will be called overflow, and I will put all these elements within the overflow, right? So it's going to house all these images and pictures, right? That's what the overflow is going to house. And then I'm going to set display overflow x of this entire window, I mean scrollable feet to auto, so we can scroll, is it scroll or scroll? You can just scroll. Jesus, let me just stop. You get what I mean, right? So I'll just go back to my HTML, CSS probably, and set let me see, display to, let's say flex. I don't know if this will work. Align items center and justify content to center, right? And I'm going to create why is a center, sorry, and I'm going to, within this, I'm going to create overflow, right? I'm just going to test it out, right? Overflow, right? So the overflow, I'm going to give it have I created overflow? Okay, I haven't. Overflow, a height of let's say 80%, and a width of 40 boolean, right? Width of, let's say 1,000 pixels. Let me give it a border of 1 pixel solid green. Let's see how it looks like now. Okay, so see what it has done. It has expanded our elements, right? It has destroyed everything, right? But when we set overflow x of scrollable fees to auto, it will actually fit in. So overflow x to auto, right? Let's see how it looks like now. Great. Now I'm actually am I scrolling or I'm not scrolling? So I think the reason it wasn't is not scrolling because I set I think the parent element to display flex. Let me just take all these out and see what happens. So let me just check it out again, and yeah, we can see it's scrolling now. It's scrolling. I'm not going to mess that word up again, right? So we have our element here, a scroll bar here, and it's actually scrolling, right? Cool. Now we just have to put this the big element inside, right? So let me just position this wall. Let me give the overflow a margin top, right? Margin top. The height is 80%, so if I give it a 10% margin top, it will be totally uniform in the middle, because the bottom will be 10, the top will be 10, the middle will be 80, making 100%, right? Yeah, it's smart. Wow. Okay, so cool. Let's deal with the elements. So I'll just go back to HTML, and within the overflow I'm going to create these elements that I've been talking about. So I'm going to call the first one, what should I call it? I'm out of names, so like okay. So I'm very bad at naming. So I've been able to come up with a name. I'm going to name it box, right? That's a great name, box, right? So this is going to be the box. This whole thing is going to be one box, right? After I'm done designing one box, I'll just copy the box and copy it, and we should be done. So box, let's style box CSS. So CSS, we'll just do dot box, right? Because we only have one box. So height is going to be 100% of the parent element. Width is going to be probably, let's go for 400 pixels. And border is going to be 1 pixel solid white. Cool. Let's see how border looks. Box looks like. Is this 400 pixels? That's weird. Yeah, I forgot it's a scrollable element, right? So sorry, it's actually scrolling, right? So yeah, this is one box, right? And cool. Yeah, let's see. So we have one box here, and what am I going to do now? The height is okay, the width is okay. So now let's start the box, right? So within the box we can see we have the image, right? And we have the text, right? So let's do this fast. So great. So within box I'm going to create dot b image for box image, right? The b image, and I'm going to create the b description, right? So this is going to be the box image and the box description, right? So let's start the b image. So I'm going to give it the image right here in the CSS. So the b image, I'm going to give it a background of URL assets image 1 dot but then on second thought I think it is not a good idea, right? So I just did this. I'll do this. Let me clear this. So I'm going to give how do I put it, the image in the HTML. It's not good practice to put the image in the CSS, right? Unless the image is not going to be changed, right? So this is the b image, this is the b description. I'm going to put the image here, right? So I'm going to use an img tag src asset, right? Image 1. Cool. Now let's see how it looks like. Okay, it is very big now, but that's not how we want it to be, right? We have to grade the box, right? So box display is going to be grade. The grade is not the only display. There are lots of displays. There are block, there are flex, which is normally used. Grade anyone you want to use, just the one that works for you, right? So grade template rows, right, is going to be set to probably 5 fraction 2 fraction, right? So now let's see. Okay, cool. Now we set the image, right? B image img. We set width to 100% and height to 100%. So height is going to be 100% and width is going to be 100%. Now it looks cool now, right? That's very great. That's very great. That's cool. So yeah, let's deal with the description, right? Let's see how the description looks like. So this is the image. This is the description. It has a title, it has a description, and it has a date, right? So let's create all those elements within. What the fuck just happened? Is this thing still recording? Okay. So I had a technical glitch there, guys, forgive me, right? So we're going to have a beat title, right? We're going to have an H6. I usually use H6, but you can use anything from H1 to H6. H1 being the biggest, H6 being the smallest, right? So lorem probably 7, right? And the B description, right? We already have B description, so B details. I'm good with coming up with names. It's going to have a P lorem, let's say 12, right? And let's do the last one, dot B date. That's the box date, right? So we can just even put it inside the span, right? So it's going to span 11th, I think 11th July is what we've been using, July 2022. Okay, good. Let's see how it looks now. Not this. That's very messy, right? I know, right? So let's make this great. So first of all, let's start the B title, right? So B title, let's increase the font size. So the B title is going to have font size of my machine is, what's happening to my machine? Anyway, font size of 20 pixels, right? So let's check it out. Nothing is happening here. So B title, font size 20 pixels. Let's try 30. Okay, 30 looks better, right? And let's start the B description. What is the B details, right? That's the name we gave it. Dot B details. So B details is going to have font size of 14 pixels, font weight of let's try 200, right? Let's see how it looks like now. It looks cool. Probably we can give the same style to B date as well, so that B date is going to have the same styling as B details, right? So we can check it out, and everything looks cool here. Everything looks cool. It's left with a few spacing, right? So now let's space this. Let's give it a margin top of, guess what, 10 pixels. Okay, cool. I don't think we need to do anything here again, right? I think we are almost set. Yeah, I think there were some buttons here. Let me check this. Okay, so we have a button here and a button here. I think this font weight is way bigger than the other one's font weight. But then, yeah, let me see something else. Okay, so let's work on the buttons. So within, we can just give our B image position. Sorry, the box. We can just B image, right? Give it position of relative. This video is going to be long. Wow. And within the B image, we would just I would have cut, but then I think someone said he wasn't following well when I was cutting, so I have to go all the way. So yeah, B image, I'm going to create the buttons, right? So buttons, I'm going to create button for a particular button, right? And I'm going to create 2 buttons. Copy. So button 1 is going to be B1, and in case you want to style it, and B2 for button 2, right? Okay, so buttons, let's see, let's start them. So CSS dot buttons position is going to be absolute, so we can put it anywhere we want, and it's not going to affect the other element, right? Okay, it's refreshing, that's why. Yeah, nothing is wrong. So left is going to be probably 10 pixels, and bottom is going to be probably the same. I don't know why I'm stuck with 10 pixels. I always use 10 pixels. So let's see how it looks. We can't even see it. Let's give it a border. 1 pixel solid. Which color haven't I used? Green. I've used green like a couple of times. Okay, so here it is. Of course, it doesn't have a width. I'm not sure you can see it. So give it a width of 80 pixels, height of let's try 30 pixels. Great. Now we see button, this one here, right? But we don't want it to be this way. We're not going to give it a width. We're just going to leave it there. So we will create the buttons, and that will have the width, and it will expand it, right? BTN width is going to be 70 pixels. Height is going to be 100%. And yeah, background is going to be red. Okay, that's bad. Let's see, bottom is going to be 40 pixels. Great. Height is going to be, let's try 50 pixels. What's going on? Let me just take this out. Okay, so height is going to be 20. Cool. Right. Oh yeah. So now let's bring this down a little bit. The bottom is too high. 10 pixels will be good for us. Then we have button b2, right? Dot b2 is going to have a margin left of 100 pixels. So we're going to have two buttons. A margin top of minus 20 pixels, right? So now this is how it looks like, right? But I'm still not liking the height, so I'm giving it a height of 30 pixels, and it's going to be minus 30 pixels. Now it looks cool. It looks cool, right? So now let's start. This is going to be, the background is going to be this color. I was typing red and I saw Rebecca blue, so that's what I used. So yeah, that's going to be the colors. And let's give it border radius, probably 10 pixels. Okay, now it looks cool. What else? Yeah, the text, right? So what's the text? The text is shared and read, right? So HTML, where is, yeah, we can just give an H6, right? First one is share. I almost forgot. And let me copy this, feeling easy. And let me make this read. Yeah, but look at where it's positioned. We don't want that, right? So we can just come back to buttons and give it a display of flex, align items, center, and justify content to center, not baseline, center. Okay, now it's in the middle now. It looks cool, right? But this spacing is too much. Cool. Now we're done with this particular element. What we're going to do is we're going to copy it a couple of times, right? Let me see if we're actually done here. Yeah, the icon, it's left with the icon, but then we'll touch it later, as I said. So we're going to copy this a couple of times, bro. So first of all, the overflow, I have to take off the width. I just use the width for demonstration, right? So it's not going to have any width. The internal element is going to determine the width, right? So then I'm going to take the box, close the box, and I'm going to copy, then paste, and paste again, and paste one more time, one last time, then one last time. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, now it's messy, right? But then we're going to set the overflow of overflow. Wow. Now the display of overflow to flex, right? Now that should do the trick. Now it's trying to fit in. Wow, that's weird. So I paused the video and I did some tweaking, right? It was messing up. So for scrollable feeds, I gave it a border and an overflow x2 auto. So overflow margin top 10%, height 80%, border, and width is max content, right? The width is max content, so it means that the width is determined by the content, right? The max number of content, and the box height 100%, with 400%, and blah blah blah, same way, right? So those are the only changes I made, if any. So then if we check it out, this is how it looks like, right? And yeah, it looks good. It looks good, right? I think it's what we are trying to achieve. So I'm just going to take out this particular border. Where's the green? Take out this border and the one for the buttons. So, and the border for the images. Where is the box? I'm going to give it a margin right, margin left or right, left, sorry, 20 pixels, so it's separate, right? 20 pixels is kind of small. Let's try 30. Let me reduce the width to, let's say, 350. Okay, and let me take away the border. Okay, now I think we're on the right path, right? And for scrollable feeds, let me give it what I'll call should I give it a padding or should I give it a width? So width is going to be probably 90%. No, 90% is too much. 95. Cool. And I'm going to take away the border. All good now. All good now. All good now. All good now. And I'm going to take away the border for this particular static feet, right? So for I'm just going to find it. Static feet. I'm going to take away the border. And we look great. Okay. Let me see. How does this one look like? Okay, so this has to come down a little bit, right? I think it's too much to the top. So yeah, let me reduce bring this down a little bit, right? Let me see. So I'll go back to my static feet. Where is it? Tick feet, the top part. I'm going to give it a margin top, right, of, let's try 20 pixels. Didn't work. Sorry, I type P, pixels. Okay, so now let's try 40. Okay, it looks great. Right, so let's bring this one to up a little bit. So I'm going to change the width of where is it over the margin top. I'm going to make it, let's try 30 pixels and see. Okay, now it's checked, it aligns, right? That's great. Yeah, probably we are done. Okay, 40 looks cool. Now except for the last part, that is the let me see if this thing is still recording. Okay, still recording. Except for the last part, I mean this part, right? This part, the footer, right? So it's going to be just CS powered by ZepTech Web, right? So now let's design the footer and we are done. No, we're not done. Except for the icons and the navigation. Yeah, we'll touch that one too. Serious, I thought we were done. Okay, so back to my HTML. I'll take my entire more news section, right, and I'll close it, right. So under the more news, I'll create the footer, or you can just use the footer tag, right. HTML has some tags, but I don't usually use them, but it's advisable to use them, right. So let's start the footer. So if you're styling an HTML tag, you don't use the dot in front of it, right? So you can just do footer and give it a width of 100%, and give it a height of, let's try 60 pixels. Background, I'm using this color. What again? Display, flex, align items, center, and justify content to center, right? Let's see how it looks like now. Okay, good. Okay, but then it's too thin. 60 pixels is too thin. Let's try 160 pixels. Okay, that looks good. Let's try 120 pixels. Okay, now it's way better. So within the footer, we're just going to create just one element, right? It's going to be probably an H4. Let's try an H4 for example. So we're going to do C. Supposed to use an icon, but then 2022 ZepTech Web, right? So if you need a website, you can just contact ZepTech Web, right? And we will definitely sort you out. Great. So let's see how it looks like now. Okay, it looks like this, but I don't want it to look like this. I want the color to be red. So yeah, footer, give it a color red, and great, we are done. So we can just do footer H4. Let me give it a margin top of 20 pixels. Cool. So now this is let me take away the border for what was this, featured news or featured what? I've even forgotten. So yeah, the border for featured is it, let me just search red. Yeah, it was featured news, so I'll just take it out. Okay, now this is a complete site, right? Homepage. We are almost done. We are not yet done, right? So I'm going to make a last video where in that last video I'm going to add the icons. We're going to use bootstrap icons. We're going to change the fonts. I don't like these fonts. I'm going to just do a few tweaking, a few effects, and we're going to add those effects where the pop-up navigation, and we're going to just tweak a few things to make this thing perfect, right? Yeah, all the icons here is going to be added, and great. Thank you guys. See you in the next video, right? Okay, cool. Let me end this.